I stumbled upon this older video, but even in the older videos, they can tell us a lot of what's going to take place in the future. So let's go ahead and give a watch to this video.
What if you could have a powerful computer like your smartphone inside your head? Scientists at Northwestern University say they are making a chip that would connect to your brain to the internet. Yesterday, I spoke with John Brahaney from the National Catholic Bioethics Center about the dangers of such a device.
Everybody is going to be worried not only about safety but reliability over time. And then I think the next thing that we would worry about is this going to make some people or some groups more powerful in all they can know and what they can do? Seems to me that's a danger, but also I think we ought to be paying attention to the dangers of ourselves being monitored, maybe even controlled. And finally, just as with our smartphones, we may come to rely on this technology and fail to develop our own abilities, our own character.
Is there any data suggesting that that is actually the case?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't think people have done enough research with the chips yet. I think there's a lot of research that is ongoing right now with smartphones, and I think it's an interesting, almost parallel example. It's not in our head, but they are in our hands. And obviously they change people's behaviors. They change how they interact, and it's not all good.
I want you to notice that he said in the beginning of the video that they run the risk of making certain people or certain groups more powerful than others.
Is this going to make some people or some groups more powerful in all they can know and what they can do? Seems to me that's a danger.
Brothers and sisters, did you hear what he just said? That the potentiality of this type of technology being inserted into a person's brain and information uploaded onto this chip, into their brain, that can attach to their understanding, will make these people more powerful, more knowledgeable than others. And there's just a scripture that just popped right to my head, and we always look at this scripture in a certain way in terms of a general knowledge increasing. But let's take a look at Daniel 12:4. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Notice that. Knowledge shall be increased. And what the man said is that they run the risk of certain individuals or groups being more superior and knowledgeable and powerful than other people because of this, the data upload into their brain.
Is this going to make some people or some groups more powerful in all they can know and what they can do? Seems to me that's a danger.
Could it be that this is what is being referenced here in Daniel 12:4? That knowledge shall be increased, that there'll be a type of superhuman that will have this artificial type of intelligence? We talk a lot about robots, and they're being used in many industries right now. From car automaking to the assembly line, and even in certain fast food places, they're using robots to do the job that humans used to do. So in that sense, knowledge is increasing in the realm of the artificial intelligence. But could this also mean that knowledge shall be increased in humans because of a type of chip that can be inserted in a person's brain that will give them more understanding than the next man, more knowledge, more power?
Is the first chip implanted into the human brain that directly links the human brain with the hard drive of a physical computer without a wire, without a cable. We have the biology that allows us to do already, we have this, what those chips are allowing us to do. When we learn to access these mirror neurons in a very specific way, we have super learning. I do this personally. I mean, we can learn very, very quickly. We are at this pivotal crossroad where we are developing and evolving our technology so quickly. We have to make a choice as a society. How much of our power will we give away to the machines? How much of it sounds like a science fiction movie? Where do those movies come from? This is consciousness in those movies asking us to explore. Neuralink is the first chip implanted into the human brain that directly links the human brain with the hard drive of a physical computer without a wire, without a cable. So it's like Bluetooth technology. It's beyond Bluetooth, but you can think of it that way. Right. So what he's saying is, if you can't beat the machines, join them. He said, let's interface, let's become one with these machines. Right. So
what do you think about that?
So they have the chips that can be implanted into the brain, and I mean, think about what's happening. These are silicon chips that have contact points that are interfacing with human neurons. When we learn to access these mirror neurons in a very specific way, we have super learning, Brian. We can learn, so I do this personally. I mean, we can learn very, very quickly. We can learn music. You can learn to perform the way another musician is performing. You can learn a foreign language very quickly. You can retain, not only retain, but recall information. Very super learning, super memory, super retention, super recall.
It's something for us to think about. I personally still hold to the belief that this is a general type of knowledge that has been increasing for years now through technological advances and such, in computers, in the way we get information, we track things, we can find locations. I remember when I was in my teens having a big map in my glove compartment. If I wanted to go, out of the city, an hour away, that was my GPS. Pulling out a big map and having it open there, pulling over at a gas station and pulling out a big map. Or at times I didn't have a map, I'd go into the gas station, and this was very common back then, and we'd talk to the guy. I'd talk to the guy at the cash register and say, hey, how to get here, how to get there. Oh, yeah, sure, just go down here, and they'd write it down for you on a little piece of paper, and that was your GPS back then. A big, colorful map. That's the way we had to find our way around at that time. But now we have GPS. So knowledge generally has been increasing. But is it a possibility that what this man said can become reality? That a type of knowledge, by the insertion of a chip into the human brain, can make certain individuals or groups more knowledgeable and powerful and superior than others? And what if this man, this lawless one, this Antichrist, what if he's the first one to be willing to receive the uploads in his brain, the commands that are placed upon that chip? What if he might be this type of man that will be more superior and more knowledgeable than the rest, and he'll have this high degree of knowledge? Oh, he certainly will be influenced by Satan. But what if he will be the one to have this knowledge highly increased via a chip inserted in his brain? It's something for us to think about. Anything's pretty much possible in these last days. Until next time.
Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, and with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they received not the love of the truth, that they might be saved.